The weight is a factor. The age, nobody seems to mention, is also a factor. Conor Benn being the younger man at his prime, yeah? Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Ben, especially the way he fights like his father, very aggressive, yeah? And listen, if I'm gonna have to, I normally can say to you, predict what I believe will happen. Christopher Jr. is the bigger man, granted. It depends. It depends. If he's been living the lifestyle, that's also a factor. So it's a 50-50 fight.
Don Charles is being straightforward as he talks about the upcoming fight. Even though he tries to say it's a 50-50 match, it's obvious where his loyalty lies. He believes Chris Eubank Jr. is in a completely different league. The talk about age and weight is just a distraction to cover up the fact that Eubank has the advantage. Charles knows that being younger doesn't always mean being better, and he doesn't need to say it directly, but it's clear. Eubank's experience, size, and smart fighting skills will make a big difference when it matters. Charles also makes a slight comment about Eubank's lifestyle, but that's nothing compared to what will actually happen in the fight. Ben's aggressive fighting style won't be enough against Eubank's control and precision. Ben might have the same fire as his father, but Charles isn't fooled. Reckless aggression won't win at this level. Don Charles is making it clear, Eubank is not only bigger, but he's smarter. When the fight happens, Ben will look like an amateur next to him.
I think since he got caught with performance-enhancing drugs in his system, I think he's a shadow of the fighter. He's lost all his explosiveness, he's lost his power. So I don't think he's going to carry any dangers into that fight, if I'm completely honest.
What have you made of Chris Eubank Jr.'s mind games that he's been playing? He's found a good line that he's worked with, calling him a cheat and saying that he'll respect anyone but a drug cheat. What do you believe these mind games are having an effect on Conor Benn, first of all?
I do, but in a way, you've got to respect it because not many people do come out and say what they're thinking.
Since Conor Benn was caught using performance-enhancing drugs, he hasn't been the same fighter he once was. Troy Williamson doesn't hold back, saying Ben has lost all his power and explosiveness. What's left of him is just a shadow of his former self. The truth is, Ben is no longer someone anyone needs to fear in the ring. When it comes to Chris Eubank Jr.'s mind games, Williamson gives credit to Eubank. Calling Ben a cheat and saying he won't respect him was a smart move. What's worse for Ben is that these mind games are starting to affect him. It's clear that Eubank's psychological tactics are getting to Ben and it's damaging his confidence. Soon, it will be his downfall. The reality is that Ben's reputation is ruined, his explosiveness is gone, and Eubank is ready to make him collapse under the pressure.
Yeah, I think it's a mismatch on paper. Of course it is. It's a fella that won a British title at welterweight, who hasn't boxed for a long time, against a faded world-class middleweight. So I haven't really got any interest, to be honest.
Egg slap not get you excited for it?
Not really, no. I'm not really an excitable guy.
Dave Allen doesn't just criticize, he completely dismantles the idea of the Eubank versus Ben rematch, treating it like a bad joke. He doesn't hold back, saying this isn't a fight anyone should be excited about. It's just a sad mismatch between a middleweight who's clearly past his prime and a welterweight who hasn't proven himself at a serious level. He cuts through all the hype, calling the fight exactly what it is, a money grab dressed up. As a big event, with no real sporting value, Allen sees right past all the flashy promotions. One fighter has been inactive, and the other has been humbled time and time again. The worst part is that the so-called rivalry has no real substance left. It's just about using their fathers' legacies to sell the fight while fans are left, holding on to nostalgia with no real excitement. The real problem is the huge gap in quality, which is an insult to true boxing fans. For Allen, this isn't a fight, it's a disgrace, dragging boxing down for a quick payday.
You know, for all the promotion, for all the nonsense, for all the crap, you've got two fighters here. Might not be for a world title, but if you want to see a scrap, you're going to see one, because these two like to fight. Look at their careers. They are the fighters. They are the brawlers. They love it. And they only know one way. And that's what's going to happen on April 26th. They're going to meet in the ring, in the center of the ring, and they're going to go off. And that's why the casual fans are going to love this fight. Yes, the boxing fans will.
Ben Shalom isn't holding back, making it clear that this isn't just another fight. It's a full-blown war that will unfold in front of us. Forget the flashy titles and media hype. This is about two fighters who've earned their place with raw aggression and relentless pressure. When they finally meet on April 26th, there's no room for hesitation or testing the waters. The gloves will come off, and pure chaos will take over the ring from the very first bell. This won't be a technical match. It will be two men fighting non-stop, throwing punches until one falls. Once the first punch lands, the energy will be so intense, you won't be able to look away. This isn't just a fight. It's a huge spectacle ready to light up the arena. The big question now is, who will crack first under the pressure? This won't be a fight decided by points. It will be a brutal showdown, where only one man will stand tall at the end.
So, yeah, I think the difficulty for Conor Benn in this fight is the weight and is the size. I think he's a better fighter. And I think at a natural weight class, he's a big favourite in the fight. But coming up 2 weight classes, it makes it a 50-50 fight. And you ain't going to blink in this one.
On the other side, Eddie Hearn, he's not holding back, making it clear that Conor Benn is walking straight into a dangerous situation. The real challenge for Benn isn't just his skill, it's the huge size disadvantage he's facing. Moving up 2 weight classes is no easy task, and it changes everything about the fight. At his natural weight, Benn could have been the favorite, but now he's stepping into unknown territory where every moment could make a difference. The truth is, the bigger fighter has the advantage in physical strength, power, and endurance. One mistake from Benn could lead to disaster. Both fighters have knockout power, so this isn't a fight where you can afford to blink. The big question is, can Benn adjust to the huge size difference and prove he can stand up to the bigger fighter? Or will moving up in weight show weaknesses? In his power, this is a high-stakes, all-or-nothing battle that's sure to be an exciting thriller.
Tough man. And Conor Benn is an animal with a hot head. And as soon as that bell goes, you've only got to watch Nigel Benn's fights and Conor Benn's fights in his career so far to realise he's going to set about him from the first bell.
Eddie Hearn isn't holding back. Conor Benn is a force to be reckoned with. He's a relentless fighter who brings total chaos to the ring from the moment the bell rings. Just look at his career and his father's legendary battles. Benn doesn't waste any time. He jumps straight into the action, creating chaos with explosive speed and constant pressure. But here's the catch. Will that same non-stop intensity work against a bigger, stronger opponent? Charging in right from the start is high risk, high reward, and against the wrong opponent, it could backfire badly. This fight will come down to who can control the pace and impose their will first. The big question is, can Benn's ferocity break his opponent, or will he fall into a trap and pay the price? One thing's for sure, this fight won't be decided by the judges.
He's been in my gym the whole time, and I'm also very close with Conor Benn. He's a good pal of mine, so it's very hard for me to sort of sit back and say this or say that. I think they're doing a fantastic job in selling their fight. I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. They both obviously have the needle with each other, and they're both going to give it everything. So be prepared for war, and I hope they get out of the ring safe and sound.
Tommy Welch is caught in the middle, struggling to stay neutral before the big fight between Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. With his personal connection to both fighters, Benn trains in his gym and they share a strong bond, Welch finds himself torn and unable to pick a side. However, despite this internal conflict, he praises both men for the intensity they've brought to the fight, building the hype like no other. Welch is certain about one thing: this is going to be a war. The personal rivalry, fueled by animosity, means both fighters are stepping into the ring with everything on the line. It's about pride, passion, and proving who's the better man. Welch's only wish is that both fighters leave the ring, without serious injury, knowing they'll give it everything they've got in what promises to be one of the most highly anticipated and brutal matchups in recent memory.
Jim White not having the antics of Chris Eubank Jr. the other day when he had that egg moment and he slapped it right into Conor Benn's face. I'm nothing wookish about me, I can assure you. When I let rip, you'll know all about it. But I do feel it's maybe what the sport doesn't need, and yet many people are saying, no, it's great, you watch it. Everybody wants to go to that fight.
On the other hand, Jim White isn't holding back when it comes to Chris Eubank Jr. He calls his egg-smashing stunt something boxing doesn't need. But here's the twist. Was it really unnecessary, or did Eubank just stir up the kind of controversy that boxing thrives on? Love it or hate it, chaos is what drives this sport, and that egg incident is the kind of spectacle that gets fans talking. Critics might call it childish, but the drama is undeniable. Fans are hooked, and suddenly this fight has reached a whole new level. Sure, Conor Benn might have been humiliated, but now he's more fired up than ever, desperate for redemption. When these two meet in the ring, it won't just be about punches. It'll be about personal pride, revenge, and old grudges. Is this what boxing really needs, or is it just manufactured drama? One thing's for sure, you won't be able to look away.
We'll do it. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good fight as long as it lasts, but I think Eubank will do it.
Is that because of the size and all the attributes Amir Khan mentioned?
I think with the experience and everything in it, to be honest, I think he's got the more experience as being professional, and since he's moved trainer, he seems to be a different fighter again.
On the other hand, Hughie Fury isn't holding back. He's fully backing Chris Eubank Jr. and tearing apart Conor Benn's chances, calling this fight a disaster waiting to happen. The truth is, Ben is stepping up, against a fighter who's been through brutal battles, while his own record is just smoke and mirrors. Fury strongly believes Eubank has improved since switching trainers. He's become sharper, smarter, and much more dangerous. But here's where things get tough for Ben. Fury doesn't just doubt him. He believes Ben will be slowly picked apart and exposed in the ring. The real problem for Ben is experience. He's never been in deep waters, while Eubank has fought the best and proven he belongs at the top. To make things worse, Ben is moving up in weight, making this an uphill battle right from the start. The moment of truth is coming quickly. Will Ben survive, or will Eubank crush him under the pressure and destroy his hype once and for all?
I think Chris is leaps and bounds ahead of Conor. His experience, the guys he's been in with, take away the weight, because Chris is obviously going to be disadvantaged in there with the weight as well, but just ability, boxing skill set is on a completely different level.
On the other hand, Harlem Eubank is completely confident that Chris Eubank Jr. is light years ahead of Conor Benn. It's not just about size or power. While everyone's focused on the weight difference, Harlem knows the real divide is in their boxing skills, experience, and ring intelligence. Chris has tested his skills against some of the toughest competitors in the sport, while Ben, despite his power and aggression, hasn't faced that level of competition. Harlem admits that Chris will lose some size due to the weight cut, but he's certain that Chris's experience and superior boxing IQ will be too much for Ben in the ring. It's not about brute strength, it's about who can outthink the other, adjust under pressure, and stay calm in the heat of the fight. Harlem believes Ben's lack of experience against elite fighters will hurt him, as he won't be able to handle the strategic approach Chris brings to the table.
Was I surprised? Not really. I mean, I didn't know he was going to pull an egg out of his pocket and slap it around his head, but, it was always going to be some form of drama. And yeah, it was always going to happen. It spiced it up. Like I say, I wasn't really surprised by it. Maybe a little bit stupid, maybe not a little bit stupid. Maybe there was going to be something that's going to happen. Was it going to be Conor Benn? Was it going to be Chris Eubank Jr.? But I think that shows you the rivalry between these two and the feuds between these two.
On the other hand, Spencer Oliver wasn't really shocked by the egg stunt, although he didn't expect it to escalate in such a strange way. Drama was always going to be part of this fight, and with the tension between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., it was clear something big was brewing. Oliver points out that the egg slap was a bit silly, but it also shows the deep rivalry between these two fighters. This fight was never going to be just about boxing. It's personal, and that moment proved it. The egg wasn't just an absurd moment. It symbolized everything that's been building up between them for years. Ben and Eubank Jr. have been circling each other for a long time, and with emotions running high, it was bound to explode. Oliver recognizes that the animosity has always been there, and the egg slap only made it worse, adding fuel to an already blazing fire. This rivalry is about to get even uglier. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.